Page, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, there being no preliminary matters on the AM docket, I'll call the very first case.
But before, can we have a moment before you do that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. I wanted to take just a moment this morning to welcome back to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners Commissioner Elizabeth Hafey to my right, who served with the previous board, and since Commissioner Moore had left us recently to go to the solicitor's office, the mayor has now appointed Commissioner Hafey to replace her, and she will be continuing with us, and we are very delighted to have her with her experience and her intellect joining us on the board. And Commissioner Hafey, did you want to say something?
It's great to be back. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gino Cazzara, Barbara Baines, and Gabriella Cazzara, GK2 LLC, trading as Amber, 900 East Fort Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. An application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license as authorized by Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1604 G3I, which allows the board to issue 5 Class B licenses in the area of the 900 block of East Fort Avenue. The requirements of the 46th Legislative District, a capital investment of $500,000, 51% food sales, and at least 75 seats. This is a request for outdoor table service as well. Please come forward.
Counsel.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I will say this to you folks and to everyone here who has not been before us before. We're recorded, we're televised, and so I'm going to swear in or have the reporter swear in anyone who's going to testify. And when you speak, you need to lean into these microphones. And before you speak, state your name and spell it for the reporter so that we can have an accurate record of what goes on. So would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Previs?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants. Gino Cazzara is to my immediate right. Barbara Baines is in the middle, and Gabrielle Cazzara is to my far right.
Good morning.
Good morning. This as Mr. Page said, this is an application for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license pursuant to the 2017 House Bill 1348 for the 46th Legislative District. The premise, if I may proceed by proffer, and then any questions that you have of the applicants. This is a commercial space in the Anthem House project in, I'm old school, so I say South Baltimore. And the project is well underway and planned to open end of February, possibly early March if everything gets approved and the contractors keep on going. Mr. Cazzara will be a full-time operator along with his daughter, Gabrielle. Mr. Cazzara has ample experience in the food and beverage business. He was with Pierpoint Restaurant from 1989 through 1994, and he's also worked at various Panera Bread facilities, both in Maryland and in the Philadelphia area for many, many years. And he's undertaken this project along with his daughter. Miss Barbara Baines is in the middle. She's our Baltimore City resident. She's also one of the most avid watchers of Liquor Board television. It is her favorite reality TV show.
Has she met Larry?
She's asked me on occasion, who is that nice-looking gentleman that's always there?
Yes.
I said, that's Larry. So she's going to be able to watch herself on TV here. And Miss Baines has lived in Baltimore her entire life, and she's a family friend of the Cazzaras, and has agreed to go on as a. But
she's not going to be working in the.
She won't be. She's retired, and she worked for Senator Mikulski for many, many years. But she will be involved and know that the premises is well operated, and she trusts that it is in good hands with Mr. Cazzara.
And because there are, what is your experience?
Marketing.
Oh, that's what you're going to be doing? So you're not going to be doing hands-on managing of the facility? Okay.
Dad will get her involved. I can guarantee her
She's
that.
working in the kitchen, she just doesn't know it yet.
And what are your plans for this place? What kind of restaurant facility is it going to be?
If I can hand up a draft of the menu, but Mr. Kazera will explain the cafe concept.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a dual of just, mostly it attaches to the lobby of the Anthem House, which is 292 apartments. So we'll be open for fresh breakfast and coffee and espresso, more as like an e-lounge throughout the day. So to really have a great feel of a living space and very community-oriented. So I'm trying to cater to mostly the neighborhood that's going to be within walking or drop-off distance. And then we'll do selected curated foods for lunch and dinner, obviously with some curated beers and small cocktail lists. But it's 2,000 square feet. It's not, it's large, but not large, not overly large. So we hope to keep it as a nice, quiet neighborhood crowd.
And how many seats? I'm sorry.
80 seats.
What's the proposed hours of operation?
6:30 a.m. We'll start during the week, 7 a.m. on the weekends, and then we'll probably go to like 11, 12, and then maybe 1 on the weekends.
Any letters of support from the community or anything? like
No, as we understand it, prior to this project being built, and it is, I don't know if you've seen that building, it is humongous, that the builders had met with the community and there was support and total disclosure about the plans for the premises. How many total retail spaces are there?
5, yes, and they did present mine to the local neighborhood association. They approved of Amber and the concept, and we're looking forward to service in the neighborhood.
Now, on this request is also an outdoor table service request. Can you explain the outdoor table service area and how that works?
Yes, that's just activated in front of the building. I know we have a 5-foot setback from the curb, which we will honor that, and have planters that are proposed that would keep, street traffic off of the private dining area that goes back in front, but it's also right in front of Ford Avenue. It's a large, probably 18, one section is, I think, 15 by 9, and the other is 18 by 18.
So how many tables do you expect?
Probably about 8, and maybe just like a lounge chair or two, like a sofa, just a comfortable seating, just to look out, just to activate that space on Ford Avenue.
And the application initially had live entertainment on it because the House Bill 1348 would provide for live entertainment. But at this point, we have withdrawn that, you understand that?
Yes.
And that there is no special zoning permission for the Anthem House to have live entertainment. That would require a zoning board hearing first and then come back to the board if there was a request for live entertainment. You understand
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
So
And-
most of your construction is complete?
We're probably about 60%. Drywall's up, all the roughing's done, HVAC, and so it's on to the trim work now.
Commissioners have other questions?
And I don't, from reading the bill, I'm not sure whether it required a capital investment requirement, but in the event it does, we have a letter, countersigned by Mr. Kazera, November 27, 17, from J.C. Porter Construction LLC, showing that the total project cost, some of which is landlord incentive, but it's $708,202.
Okay. Do you want to make that part of the record?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the menu and that breakdown will be received into the record. Commissioner?
Just a couple questions, if I could. You're reading my mind, Mr. Previous. I was curious about the live entertainment and the capital investment, which I believe is at least $500,000. The only question I think I have left is any issues with, I understand Pier Point is something you owned or managed. Any violations, any issues?
No.
Okay. That's all I have.
Still going strong, Pier Point?
She's still there, like 30 years later, I think we had dinner there like 2 months ago she had to go back because she was only a 2-year-old back then, but, yeah, so 1989. It's a testament. It hasn't changed much, but it's still there.
Anything further from you? Okay. Thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the evidence that's been received this morning, the proffers from counsel and testimony, I would vote to approve the application for the Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service. Commissioners?
I'm in approval.
Yeah, I
Approve as well.
I concur. Good luck.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, draft menu. Applicant Exhibit 2, capital investment breakdown. Thank you.
Heber, Ruiz, and Holly Dietrich Perez, Mi Canton Inc., trading as Mi Canton Restaurant, 2629 Washington Boulevard. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. An application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1603 CII, requiring $200,000 in capital investment, a seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people. This is a request for off-premise catering as well. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanansky, 19 East Fay Street, representing the applicant.
Good morning, and folks, can I ask you to raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
This is an application for a new Class B license. And regarding some of the questions that the chairman usually asks, this place was built out and it's started operating in July of 2017. It's a Morrill Park area. Mr. Ruiz, although he may seem to be young, has been in the business for about 20 years, working with his father and mother and sister in various different locations. So he is familiar with the operation of a restaurant with a liquor license. He plans on taking the alcohol awareness course, and the local resident will be on the license. Will not have any active part in the business, although she says she's eaten there every day, not every day, once a week ever since the place has been open, and she recommends it highly. Mr. Rios has made contact with the Morrill Park Improvements. Carol McCoy is the head person there, and she's well aware of the situation. I'll submit, and I have one for each of you, the capital investments that were made. At this point, the director upstairs says I'm not talking into the mic.
Oh, really? Well,
So
Right,
I
you're not.
offer to pay for cordless mics. Do it.
Do you think maybe he turns it off when you speak? I don't know.
People say I'm a big turnoff sometimes.
we do have a button back here for
Yeah.
suppressing.
So this is actually money spent, and I explained to Mr. Rios that before he picks the license up, he'd have to bring in the receipts to show that he spent the $272,000. Along with that, I'll then submit also copies of the menu, and I'll stop talking.
We can't hear you.
Allow him to talk.
And how many people will you be able to seat?
We have a floor plan, which I'm also going to submit, shows 108.
Thank you.
Is it just the first floor?
Yes. And it presently is open from 10 to 10. He has about somewhere between 3 and 4 employees. He plans on hiring more employees if the board would grant the approval, and try to hire people from the community that are there. So far, he's been very well received. It was an area that didn't have a fairly decent sit-down restaurant, and Subway and stuff like that. And that Morrill Park area wasn't served. Since he's been there for the last 6 months, he's already invested his money, and request the board to grant the license.
So Ms. Perez, what's the best thing on this menu?
Well, there's several things like I know the fajitas, they're really good. The mixed ones, I like the pupusas, tacos.
Fish tacos?
Usually like the chicken.
All right.
Okay.
You want to state your name and address for the record, please?
Heber Ruiz, 2104 Lubar Court, Brookville, Maryland, 20833.
Was the information that I gave to the board correct?
Yes.
Did you have anything you want to add, sir? You don't have to, I'm just asking.
Oh, no.
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Kaninsky?
Nothing for
All
us to submit.
On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the evidence that's been received this morning that proffers from counsel and testimony, I would vote to approve the application for the new Class B beer, wine, liquor restaurant license with off-premise catering.
I vote to approve as well.
I concur. Good luck.
Good luck to you, folks.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, capital investment. Applicant Exhibit 2, menu. Applicant Exhibit 3, floor plan. Thank you.
Steve, you want this? Good morning, Commissioner Moore.
Good morning.
I just popped in just to say hi. Congratulations. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Good to see
Good
you.
to see you all.
Bye.
Tawanda Evans and Baljinder Singh, BIBZ Enterprise, Inc., trading as Ace Liquors and Groceries, 500 Maud Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Jay Yu, representing the applicants.
Good morning. Can I ask you to raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Speak loud.
I do.
I do.
Mr. Yu, for my edification, because I'm not familiar with Maud Avenue, what part of town are we talking
It's
about?
Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. And what do we have?
This is a request for transfer from the current owner to the new applicant. Mr. Singh is purchasing this business with much of it with the financing, but Ms. Evans will be the resident agent licensee, and Mr. Singh will be the 99% owner and the president, secretary, and treasurer, and Ms. Evans will be the assistant secretary. Ms. Evans is a 17-year resident of Baltimore City. She's a registered voter and a property owner, taxpayer, and she has a clean record. And she's fully aware of the duties and obligations of a resident agent licensee. She and Mr. Singh has a alcohol awareness training course scheduled for coming Saturday. Because of their scheduling conflict, I wasn't able to schedule that before the hearing, but they do have that scheduled coming Saturday at 12. And Mr. Singh, he is already a business owner in the Brooklyn neighborhood, and he had an opportunity to expand into another business in the neighborhood, and he's taking that opportunity with the financing from Noah Bank. So Mr. Singh, although he's not experienced in liquor business, he does have extensive experience in grocery and convenience store business. So liquor business is something he will have to learn. But the seller, who's been there, I think, more than 10 years, they will help him ease into the business, and they will connect him with the community. And he's already familiar with the community, but they will ease him into the community and establish relationship with the community organizations. So Mr. Singh and the current owner, they're planning on scheduling that. we have not met with the committee yet. Mr. Singh has no criminal record. He is a person of good moral character, I believe. And he already is in the Brooklyn neighborhood, and he's familiar with the neighborhood. He has gone through the rules and regulations booklet, and he has full understanding that he cannot buy any beer and wine from anything but the authorized wholesalers, and that he has to card everybody under 40, especially that he's new. He has to card everybody who looks under 40 until he's familiar with the people in the neighborhood, and that he has to maintain the records and invoices and the employee records for the inspectors to inspect when they come.
So, Mr. Singh, I'm sorry.
Has he participated in the alcohol awareness course?
Not yet. We have that scheduled coming Saturday, yeah.
This
at 12,
Saturday.
yes.
So, Mr. Singh, it's my understanding that you've been working in the Brooklyn area?
Yes, sir.
What do you do there?
We have a convenience store there.
When you say we,
I mean, when I say me, it's my father with me, so
okay. And what's the name of the store?
it's 10th Street Mart.
And how long have you been there?
2 years.
2 years, okay. Do you live in that area?
I live in Pasadena, but I've been there for 2 years.
Okay. So you're familiar with the community?
Yes, sir, pretty much.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
You said you're going to meet with the community. When is that? Has that been scheduled?
This has not been scheduled yet, so.
Any letters of support or any
Not yet.
discussions? Okay.
So, the things that Mr. Yu has said that you are aware of are important to us, that you be careful about the rules and regulations, that you don't violate them. We have regular inspections.
Yes,
You cannot be selling to minors or purchasing from retailers or violating the hours of operation or any of those things. You have to be careful about any security issues that might arise. And
Everything will be fine, so.
okay, it's a lot of responsibility, but if you do it well, hopefully you'll make a good living.
I will try my best, sir.
That's our hope. If the community has material concerns about the location and things, I hope that you will work with them to try to resolve those matters, okay?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And make sure to schedule a time to meet with them sooner than later.
Okay, anything else?
So, Mr. Singh, I just want to, sort of curious, are you keeping your existing convenience store, or are you merging this
I
into?
mean, that's on the 10th Street, and this one is on 500 Mode Avenue, so it's like on a different location, but I have a manager on my 10th Street now, so I will be more focusing on liquor store this time now.
So most of your time will be
On the liquor
focused
store.
on the liquor store now?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, be careful about putting management in the hands of somebody who isn't
It
experienced.
will be in my hand of my father, so.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything further, Mr. Yu?
No, sir.
Okay. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, the testimony received this morning, I would vote to approve the transfer.
I agree.
I would approve as well. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No exhibits for the record.
No.
Jen C. Chang and Henry DeFord, Baltimore Katana, Inc., trading as Katana, 843-45 South Munford Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Morning.
Good morning. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant.
Good morning. Would you gentlemen raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Fogelman?
Thank you. First of all, I want to welcome back Commissioner Hafey. It's always good to see familiar faces up there, and appreciate your public service. It's got its ups and downs, but thank you for doing it. Hey, we're here on a transfer this morning from son to father. This is Jason Chang to my far right, and this is Jimmy Chang, Jin Chang, legally, to my near right. Mr. Chang, Mr. Jason Chang, and Mr. Jimmy Chang, his father, opened up Katana Sushi almost exactly 4 years ago. They had their liquor application in. They've done a great job in Canton, right at a corner that had some problems in the past, couldn't keep a tenant. You may be familiar. It's kind of a high-profile location because you drive down Boston Street and you see it. It's that triangular building in between Hudson Street and backing up on the Outback Steakhouse. So it's something, if you're headed out of town, you run into it. Just want to circulate some menus just as a courtesy. You'd give one to Miss Russell.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Jason Ching had an opportunity in Howard County to become a licensed beverage holder, and so he's exercising that option, and in fact was already approved by the Howard County Liquor Board to engage in business down there, subject to him getting off of this license here in Baltimore City. So Mr. Jason Ching has sold his father the 90% stock in the corporation that's listed on the application. 10% remains owned by Henry DeFord, who's a Canton resident who's previously been vetted by this board on the initial transfer, and unfortunately he is out of town. So nothing's going to change, so much so that I ran into the vice president of the Canton Community Association and told him, Dan Tracy, and told him that a big orange sign was going to be coming up, and sometimes those orange signs cause lots of excitement or consternation in the neighborhood, as the case may be. Told him this is what it is. It's simply a stock transfer from Jason to Jen. He knows both of them and said, we don't need to speak with you.
How long has Jason had the license?
4 years.
Okay. Any violations?
I don't believe so.
None.
So again, I have a more full menu, but I think you get the idea from the menu that I've provided. So I would ask that you approve this transfer. I thank you.
Could you talk a little bit about Jen's experience?
Oh, sure. I probably glossed over that. Jen spent as much time in the restaurant as Jason has over the past 4 years. However, also, Mr. Chang, Jen Chang, has operated another Katana in Howard County prior to that. So I'll be happy to let him speak directly to his experience, but I think based on his employment statement, he's been in the business for about 20 years. Isn't that right?
Yeah, longer.
Longer than 20 years? So you worked at it, you opened a Katana in Howard County, isn't that right?
Yeah, we actually, sorry, me and my wife, we started Katana. Originally, when we started Katana, we were probably only one in the whole country, but now there's several Katana. We don't own them all, but we actually say, make sure this is correct, so.
And you were there for about a decade in Howard County, isn't that right?
9 years and 6 months to be exact.
And did you have any violations in that time?
Violation at all.
And then, forgive me if I'm mistaken, but didn't you also have an operation in Prince George's County at one time?
Yes.
And you were also a liquor licensee there?
Yes.
Did you have any problems with that, with the liquor board in Prince George's County?
Never.
Okay.
Mr. Foldeman, I didn't catch what you said about the community association.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Dan Tracy, who's the vice president of the Canton Community Association, I explained to him that a sign would be posted shortly about Katana, and as I say, it is a high-profile location. And when I explained to him that it was a transfer of stock between Jason to Jen, he said, "Oh, is that it? So not even a new owner? Same people I see in there all the time." So they weren't interested in speaking or having a meeting.
Okay. Did you submit this? Or
No,
is this
that's
already
part
part of the record? Okay. Anything further?
No.
All right. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel, the testimony, and recognizing that this is a stock transfer from one family member to another to maintain the same business, I would vote to approve the transfer.
I approve the transfer.
I concur. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Foldeman. I'd call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, menu.
Rupinder Ranawa and Warren Wells, 3206 Eastern Inc., trading as Eastern Discount Liquors, 3206 Eastern Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
I'll
counsel.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. Sean Harvey, 309 South Conkling Street, Baltimore 21224 for the applicants.
Good morning. Would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Harvey, what do we have?
Mr. Chairman, to my right is Rupinder Kaur Randawa. She's the principal and the corporation that was recently formed, 3206 Eastern Inc. Their trade name will be Eastern Discount Liquors as it currently is. This is a business that they're purchasing from the current owners who have operated there since 2006, is my understanding. So it's been there for 12 years. And then, of course, Mr. Warren Wells, to Ms. Randawa's right, he is the resident, and also he has experience in the sale of alcohol. He's tended bar variously throughout the years. He said that he tended bar at Slim's Tavern on was that on Eastern, I'm sorry, Bel Air Road?
Bel Air and Port.
Okay, all right. So he has experience in those regards.
Are you going to be working in the liquor store?
As needed, yes.
Okay.
Ms. Randawa, for the board's information, does not have any experience in the sale of alcohol. However, her family has vast experience. Her husband owns a tavern in Baltimore County. It's called Liberty Tavern. She has an uncle who owns Crosstown Liquors. She has several brothers-in-law and sisters-in-law who also are licensed throughout the Baltimore and Baltimore County area. It's now her time to step up and get into the merchant's business of selling alcohol. This is a liquor store on Eastern Avenue in Canton area. The hours of operation are intended to be between 10 a.m. and midnight as the license authorizes. This is a considerable investment. Not only are they purchasing the business, but also the real estate involved. The total purchase price is $355,000. $205,000 of that is purchase of the real estate. In the contract that was submitted along with the application, it stated that the real estate was going to be taken by an LLC that was formed some time ago. It's also family that owned this LLC, but after discussing it with my client, she's going to take this real estate in her own name so that eventually she will qualify, being a Baltimore County resident, she will qualify to have this license actually in her own name in a few years and become a taxpayer in Baltimore City. The idea is to have 3 employees operating this business. Ms. Randawa does intend to run it full-time. She intends to be there at least 8 hours a day. If it becomes too much for her, she will think about hiring a manager. Of course, she understands. I explained it to her that if she does hire a manager, that, of course, it has to be reported to the board and they have to meet certain qualifications. Let's see, both of the prospective licensees are scheduled for alcohol awareness training to take place a week from tomorrow. It's February 9th. So that's been scheduled. Also, they've been in touch with Southeast CDC, Community Development Corporation, and in particular, Amanda Smith-Peters, who is what they call the manager of the Main Street, they call it, calling Eastern Avenue Main Street. And they have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 1 o'clock to discuss her plans for the business and to also discuss plans to get involved with community organizations. I think that's pretty much
What is Ms. Randawa? Am I saying your name, Randawa?
Randawa.
What's your background, ma'am? Have you worked in business before?
Yeah, sometime with my husband. Yeah.
In his tavern?
Yeah, Liberty Tavern.
Yes. Okay. So, as it managing or bookkeeping, or what kind of work do you do?
I'm just like help cashiers and.
Cashier. Okay. Running a liquor store can be difficult and challenging at times. Sometimes you have people trying to purchase liquor who shouldn't be purchasing liquor, and all those other issues. So you understand, if you're going to be the principal person there, you're going to have to run all of that.
Yeah, I try, and then anytime I need help, my family, whole family doing,
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Any issues with Slim's Bar, Mr. Wells, or?
No, sir.
Okay, good. And Ms. Rodnawa, I'm sorry if I mispronounced
Yeah,
your name.
Ms. Rodnawa.
Any issues in Baltimore County with your husband's establishment? None? Okay.
This place had a violation back in 2010, which is now 7 or 8 years, but it doesn't say what it was for. They paid a fine at the time, so I don't know. But that's what can happen if you're not vigilant, so be very careful. Anything further?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Okay. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, proffers from council, any exhibits that were received and the testimony received, I would vote to approve the transfer.
Thank you.
I concur.
I approve as well. Good luck.
Good morning, thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
No exhibits for the record.
Yuna June Shuyu Inc., trading as Shuyu Sushi, 1450 Light Street. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership and location of a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license presently located at 1026 South Charles Street to 1450 Light Street, and requesting off-premise catering. Please come forward.
Is he going to be testifying? So he's got to get his arm out of it. If not, if you all would raise your right hands, I'd appreciate it.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, can you state your names into the microphones, please?
My name's Yuna Jung. Unfortunately, my lawyer's not here.
Who is your lawyer?
Is it Mr. Hurdle?
Yeah, Evan.
Okay.
Rose.
And you are?
My husband, Zemu Lee, and he's the owner of Soyu Sushi.
What is his name?
Oh, Shangmu Lee. Oh, SHANGMU. Last name LI.
Okay. So, ma'am, you are seeking to obtain ownership of this license and to move it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you have done and what your background is?
He's doing his business 5 years. I started working on 2 years in Soyu
Sorry,
Sushi.
your business is
Soyu Sushi.
Yeah, Shoyu.
a sushi
Yeah.
restaurant. Does it have a liquor license as well?
No, we don't.
Okay. And where are you located?
Oh, it's 1504. Just
Next
right.
next door.
Oh, Light Street. Okay.
Just
All right.
next to it.
Okay. And you worked with him for the last 2 years there?
Yes.
Okay. And you've never had an alcohol license before? Okay. Are you going to take the training that's required?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know when you'll be doing that?
We didn't schedule yet.
Okay. Okay. And you know that there are lots of rules and regulations.
Yes.
And I guess you've heard me this morning talk about, but there's, restrictions on from whom you can purchase your inventory of liquor. There are rules about who you can serve it to. There are rules about hours of operation. There are rules about things that can go on the premises while you're managing them that could be potential violations of our rules and regulations. You have to be very careful about all of those things. Who will work in this location?
His main chef, he also working 100% day.
Yeah.
I'm also working on part-time server and also working on the office manager, and I also living in upstairs.
So you live upstairs, you're going to be a part-time manager and office
Everything.
keeper. Okay. And the chef will be there.
Yeah.
All
the
time,
time.
all the
Yeah.
time.
From open to close.
How's he going to, you're going to close your place?
Yeah, close it and
And
we'll
move it?
yeah.
Okay, okay. And are you going to be working there as well?
Yes. From open to close. Yeah.
Okay, and what hours?
We're opening from 12 to 3, 5 to 10.
Mhm.
Yeah, every day. The Sundays hour like from 3 to 9:30.
Okay. And the reason you're moving, is this a larger space or?
Yes, larger space.
Okay. Okay. And This particular license, so I see you purchasing the business from them. All right. Do the commissioners have questions?
Are you doing any renovations to that new space?
Yeah, we are closing small space and we move to renovation.
Are you fixing it up,
Yeah,
the new
yeah.
space?
Some
We are
more
on the
seats.
construction right now. It's almost done.
So when do you think it would be ready?
We are not sure when is inspector coming in, but end of July.
No.
February.
Okay.
Are there going to be, can you talk about how the space will be fixed up?
Yeah, it's gonna be 44 seats. Yeah.
They have one sushi bar, one window bar, and they have 5 tables, one booster set, long booster set with 4 tables. The total 44 seats.
44 seats.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I understand. So you're closing your existing sushi restaurant, and you're buying a license and you're relocating it to another location where the sushi place will also.
Yeah, just like.
So it'll be one and the same. So it's
Yeah.
not next door. It's all together.
We close 1450 Light Street 1, and we open in 1504.
Now, will the liquor store though go to 1504?
1504,
Okay, that's what okay. I just want to make sure I was following. Okay. I guess the question that I have right now is the community. Have you reached out to the community because it's a very engaged?
I got some.
Great. Can we see that? That's terrific. Thank you. So you're handing me a petition, it appears, with residents and businesses who request that this board grant the transfer of the liquor license to the sushi restaurant, and it does not pose a health, safety, and welfare, and it appears that you have about 72 signatures. Now, let me just look at this, because sometimes our President Trump, will sign this. So I just want to make sure that we actually do see that. Thank you, that's all I have.
You want to take a look at this, Commissioner? Let me just see.
Sure. And with the catering services, will you have the same hours of operation for the catering services?
No, we don't do catering service.
Oh.
Mostly like
To go.
Yeah, takeout order. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Takeout and eating, yeah.
There was a request for off-premise catering. That's why I ask. So you're not doing catering services?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Does the applicant understand, he stated that he would be open 7 days a week, that the Class D beer, wine, and liquor license is a 6-day license, no Sunday sales, consumption, or dispensing?
Do you understand that? So no liquor sales on Sunday? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Page. Commissioners have any further questions?
Do not.
Okay, on the basis of the materials that are contained in your application, the evidence that you presented us, and your testimony, I vote to approve the transfer of both the license and the location, and just admonish you that getting this training is going to be very important, because it's one thing to run a restaurant, it's another thing to do it where there are liquor sales as well. So you have to be very careful, and especially for his sake.
Yeah.
So I vote to approve.
Thank you so much.
I agree.
Thank you.
I would support my colleagues, and I too vote to approve. And please don't hesitate to ask the staff, the Liquor Commission, any questions that you might have, since this is a new endeavor, a new effort for you. So by all means, we're here to help. So wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Good
Good
luck.
luck.
Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, petition of support. Thank you.
John Blake Jr., personal representative, Catherine Sterling, Inc., trading as Locust Point Tavern, 1515-17 East Clement Street. This is a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for hardship extension. Please come forward.
Again, good morning. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant.
Good morning again. Sir, would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name, sir?
John Franklin Blake Jr.
Okay. And so, were you related to Catherine Sterling?
Sir, I was.
And how are you related?
She was my great-grandmother.
Okay. And she had the license, is that correct, Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, that's correct. She operated a small bar for many, many years in South Baltimore.
And when did she die?
She died on August 11th, 2016.
Okay. And so then you tried to operate it, is that what happened?
Yeah, I tried, but it was an old tavern. I was there for 60 years. You know, as her age, you know, as she got older, her business got older and never really got renovated, you know, and I didn't have the money to, you know, bring it up to par to city standards, so I was forced to close.
Okay, and now you're trying to sell it, is that correct?
He is under contract. Yeah, I've got an exhibit to show that he is under contract. In fact, you'll be here, assuming you approve this hardship extension today, there will be a hearing 2 weeks from today on transferring that license. And I'll give you a spoiler alert. It's going to a place where there'll be axe throwing, but it's a franchise and it's very well regulated, so I urge your approval.
Urban Axes Baltimore, where did you find them?
They found me.
Oh.
Yeah.
They've had, Mr. Chairman, they've had some press.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll entertain that
Pretty
in a few
neat.
weeks.
I've heard about that.
Okay. You know, when you get to be my age, you just miss all of the popular culture. Okay, commissioners have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
No, it appears that the request for the hardship is timely. No questions.
Do you have a closing on the sale?
Yes, 30 days after the liquor board hearing, I believe, so.
Okay. Okay. All right, on the basis then of the request that's in our materials and the proffers from counsel, the testimony, the evidence that we've received of the potential sale of the business, I would vote to approve the hardship extension.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Thank you all.
Want
Have a
this-
great day.
Do you want this in the record or back, or?
If I could have it back, that'd be nice. You'll be getting it soon enough. Another file. Thank you.
Thank you.
No exhibits for the record. Thank you.
Those pages that our morning docket.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Now begins the PM session of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or solid mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, there being no preliminary matters on the PM docket, case number 1, Doris Booker and Jacob Gabrionis, Macios, Inc., trading as Macios, 1924-26 North Monroe Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization on October the 20th, 2017. Please come forward.
For the record, representing the licensee Melvin J. Kadensky.
Good afternoon. Would all those who are going to testify, please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Mr. Kadensky, you going to admit or deny the violation?
We'll do an admission.
Okay.
Since he's bigger than I am,
They can turn your mic on now.
everybody wants to get into the act, you know. Cha-chung.
Okay, so the charge is that on October 20, 2017, that the housing inspector observed there was a disc jockey playing and they didn't have authorization for that. So is there an excuse or explanation to go through?
Yeah, it's maybe the people who had it before, Dante Daniels, they always had like karaoke and a DJ on the weekends, and the current licensee thought it was all right to carry over, although after I talked to him, he realized that he has to go and get a approval from zoning for a use in occupancy. Now, I don't know whether he could do it according to the zoning, but at least he stopped doing it. And I explained to him, but since the DJ was there and the karaoke people, although I don't know if karaoke's live entertainment or not, because it depends on
who's singing.
Yeah. And I used to have a bartender work for me, used to sing Secondhand Rose all the time. It used to drive me crazy, made me go home. But he knows not to do it anymore.
Well, that's good. So this gentleman And how do you say your name, sir?
Jakob, Y-A-K-O-B.
Okay, Mr. Jacob, the license was transferred to you last year, is that correct? Just several months back, right?
Correct.
No, I'm sorry, in March, almost a year ago. And then there was one violation in November for a sale to minor, is that correct?
Correct, but nothing with, this was, it's different, I'm trying to differentiate. it.
I understand you're
Okay.
saying it was a misunderstanding or a
Carrying
failure
over
to
what they were doing,
understand.
which was, it shouldn't have done.
Okay. Was he cooperative when you spoke with him?
Yes.
Thank you. Do commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Anything else, Mr. Kadensky?
No, I would submit and ask, in light of the carry, and I know Dante Daniels very well. He opened the place in Baltimore County. You know, what was the name of that? You know, the one where the Daniels has that? Yeah, a really nice man. And his wife's an attorney.
I'm sorry, what is his connection?
No, he owned this place for years.
Oh.
Maceo's
Oh, okay.
was there for years, was a local place where people went and they had parties and danced and all that, but they probably did it without the right approval.
Okay, understood. So on the basis then of the materials contained in here charging the violation of Rule 4.14A, the admission by the licensee and the proffers and testimony we've heard, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization on October 20, 2017. I would impose a fine of $250 and give him 30 days to pay it. Commissioners?
That's fine with me. I agree.
I concur with the finding of the violation of Rule 4.14A and the imposition of the fine for $250.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The call exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, email dated January 9th, 2018. Board Exhibit 3, photos. Thank you.
Call me tomorrow or Monday.
Andrea Allen and Meenakshi Shamra, L&M Enterprises, Inc., trading as Lou's Bar and Liquors, 4819-25 Eastern Avenue. This is a Class BD7, a beer, wine, and liquor license, here for violation of Rule 4.20C, small I, Class BD7 licensees, open and operating tavern at all times on October the 26th, 2017. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanansky, representing the licensee.
Good afternoon. Would everyone who's going to testify please raise your right hand?
I swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do.
Okay, Mr. Cadenzi, this is a charge as to October 26, 2017, admission or denial?
We'll do an admission.
Okay. The facts as presented in the record indicate that Inspector Perez was told that the bar was not open when he inquired. Is that what you're admitting to?
They will admit that's what he was told, yes, but she'll have an explanation, don't obviate what he was told.
I understand. Okay. So I'm happy to hear the explanation.
Of course, this is a situation that had happened here once before.
It did.
And Ms. Sharma was trying to instruct her employees, this particular employee, and they have a lot of people that are, from Naples, the extraction, and this fellow was the first day he worked there. And she had told the other employee who was doing something else, he thought they were asking, could they use the bathroom because they have a bus stop there, and he was saying no. I think it was miscommunication, however.
Saying it's a language barrier?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And she has the signs on her that say this bar is open and so forth, but that doesn't mean that they got in, they said no. And she had indicated to me, and I'll let her explain a little bit, so I think it's sometimes good to hear from the licensee rather than hear from me, that they had come in after this and went into the bar and everything was fine.
The liquor board people did?
I
Or
think
other
so.
people?
No, I think.
I thought you meant other customers.
She'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Give
think
it- your name-
after
you gotta
the-
give your name.
Meenakshi Sharma. So I think right after the two, the people that had come in, after a week after, somebody else also come in. I had the paper, which I really
Can
forgot
you
to.
slow down for 1 second? So you're saying a week after October 26th they came in?
It was in November, I think. I'm really not sure with the date.
day.
But yes, they came in and they asked, and then everything was fine that time. So they made sure that, they asked for the bar too, and everything was fine that time.
And is Mr. Dipesh Sharma, is that his name? How you say his name?
I'm sorry?
Dipppesh. How do you pronounce his name? It says here on there that that's who was the manager at the time?
The Subhash, is it that the
How do you-
guys?
Well, who was on duty that night?
Singh and Sharma. There were another guy who was like Sharma
Are
and
they related to you?
there was one guy which he was hired, and I had to meet him the next following morning, and this thing happened right there and then.
Okay, is he still working for you?
Yes.
Was he there when they came back?
Yes, he
Okay.
was.
And you had trained him by that point?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And Inspector Perez, you don't speak Nepalese? Could you work on that, please?
You have one of those where you can say it and then,
The translation?
what do you call, yeah. No? Siri would do it for you.
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, I hear you, what you're saying, Ms. Sharma, and it's a reasonable explanation, but it's unfortunate that it happens just a few months after you were here
Right.
once before,
Yes.
and you've only had the license since 14, and this is your third violation. So, let's see if the other commissioners have comments or questions.
I think my stars were not in my favor.
But, well, I should ask, inspectors, was she cooperative?
Chief Inspector Mark Fossler, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything you want to add, Mr. Fossler?
No, sir, pretty much, the mission was pretty much as it went down.
Okay.
I don't have any questions either.
Although I welcome Ms. Chase, who's, this might be the first time you're before the board. No? Welcome.
Welcome, yes.
Hello.
I would know that, I would have cross-examined.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Kadensky?
No, fine. It
All
was
right,
submit, like I said, they're not contesting, you're just trying to give an explanation.
Okay. Having reviewed the materials that charged the violation on October 26th and heard the admission and testimony presented, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small double I, on October 26, 2017. I've got to impose a fine, Ms. Sharma, and as I said, it would have been a lot lighter if you didn't have these offenses. So, since Mr. Fossler seems to believe your story, and I guess I do too, but I still with this, I'd impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days.
Okay.
I concur with that fine.
I concur as well with the finding of the violation and the imposition of the fine of $500.
Okay? And stay away, okay?
I will.
We'd like to see you, but not under these
I know, me
circumstances.
too. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Ready to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Elsie Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Chief Inspector Mark Foster. Thank you.
Gurdeep Singh, Sun Inc., trading as Sun Tavern and Liquor Store, 308 North Utah Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.20C, small I, Class BD7 licensees, open and operating tavern at all times on October the 26th, 2017. Please come forward.
So all those who will be testifying, please raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Gentlemen, which one of you is Mr. Singh? Mr. Singh, you're charged on October 26, 2017, with having the bar portion of your establishment closed when it was required to be open. Do you admit that or deny that?
First of all, I'm sorry. I'm Gurdeep Singh, and he's my employee. He was working. I'm the owner. I wasn't working that time.
But you're responsible, you understand that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So did it happen or did it not happen?
It happened, but it was I feel not guilty with the explanation.
Okay. Well, first, you say it happened, so you can now explain why it happened, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a heavy traffic over there, and before when I took over in 2015, we opened the bar. Like everybody come and go. Mostly people come use the bathroom, broke things, and after that we put the cover charges. So we let people in who pay us like $10 cover charge to get in. And
can I slow you down for a minute? So you're saying when you took over, and you said 2015?
Yes, sir.
But the license, do we have a mistake on ours?
2015.
We have 2005.
Oh, that's that's a Gurmeet Singh. He owned it from 2003 to 2015.
Okay, so you took over, and you said people would come in, and apparently the bathroom's in the tavern section.
Yes, sir, and they don't buy anything. Just go use the restroom, then go, and sometimes they broke things. And then after that, we put the cover charges, so we can.
We charge people to go to the bathroom?
No, we don't charge people to go bathroom.
No. So how does that work?
Sometimes the people went in the bathroom. They took hours to come out, and we always knocking them to please come out. Then it's like then we put the cover charge like $10. People can go in
To enter the tavern.
Yes, sir. So we use that money, what they buy, we cut from that money. We don't use that money for us.
So when this detective came in on October 26th, was he told there was a cover charge?
Yes, my employee. I talked to my employee. He said ID with the $10 to go in the tavern, and he said there was a misunderstanding. He said he not gonna let him the bar, but he said like he gonna like $10 with the ID, so you can go back in.
So your explanation is that while the detective believed that he was being told he couldn't go in because it was closed, you say that what he was actually being told is he had to pay $10 to get entry.
That he told me to do that, so $10 entry fees.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Detective's not here though, right? Oh, okay.
Chairman, he's on his way. He's working on another cover thing, but he's minutes away.
Well,
he can give some testimony if you like.
Okay. Well, you have, go ahead.
I mean, everything that he...
Would you state your name for the record, Detective?
Detective Abraham Gatto, Baltimore City Vice Unit. Everything he stated as far as the cover charge and the bathroom situation is accurate to what this gentleman said when we came in. My question is, or my comment is that our detective was denied entry, and then once he relayed that to us and we got into the establishment, there's like a loose dog running around in the tavern area. So I really don't know how they could truly say that this bar was open when you have a dog just roaming freely through the bar. I don't see how you can have any patron that would want to sit in there and see a dog running through their legs or running behind the bar and things like that.
But you didn't see other patrons?
There were no patrons in there, none.
I'll add Agent Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board. Also, there was a female in the back of the bar. We asked her if she's, the gentleman here to my right, that gentleman, said that she was the barmaid. We asked her if she was the barmaid. She said, no, I'm his girlfriend just hanging out with a dog. Then he continued to say that she was the bartender. She continued to say she's not the bartender. So that's why we also violated them for not having employee records and not having the 3-compartment sink.
She's still your girlfriend?
No, she's my wife. She was here,
So you're not arguing anymore?
Is there another girlfriend to your wife? I'm trying to keep track of all this.
You gotta kill me.
Don't get involved in that.
Okay. To be fair, Mr. Singh, did you have any questions for the detective or the inspector?
No, what happened on that day, I'm sorry for that. I don't know, because I work in the morning time. I was at home that time, so I don't know there was a dog involved or anything, what's going on. So I talked to them, and I won't allow any pets in my store anymore.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry for everything.
Well, I will say to your credit that you've had this license, I don't know how long you've had it, but it's been there since 2005, and they have no violations before today, so it's the first offense.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. So the corporation of Sun Inc. has been in existence since 11/17/2005. Mr. Gurpreet Singh became the licensee in 2015.
Oh, I see. Thank you, Mr. Page, that explains that, okay. All right. Well, at least it's been a couple of years, and even before you, there were no violations that we had. So, Commissioners, do you have anything further?
So I just want to, I'm trying to understand this. So you are Mr. Gurdeep Singh? Okay, and so you've had this for since 2015?
Yes.
But this was transferred to?
In April 2015.
Well, the corporation took it over.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Gurmeet Singh
everything
operated
stays same,
prior
but,
to 2015.
All right.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Gurmeet Singh
Yes,
operated
yes,
prior to
yes.
2015 under the same corporation.
To hear what he's saying.
Oh,
I
I'm
still couldn't hear what you said because Mr. Gurdeep Singh was speaking up here.
Mr. Gurmeet Singh operated under Sun Inc. prior to 2015. The licensee, Mr. Gurdeep Singh, became licensee in 2015 under the same corporation.
And are you related?
We were friends. We are friends.
Oh, okay. Commissioner, you have anything?
I don't have anything further.
Anything else? And was the gentleman, other than telling you that his now wife was the bartender, was he hostile, cooperative?
He was not hostile, no.
Okay, all right. Okay, on the basis of the testimony presented and the materials that we have to support this charge, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.20C, small c, double I, on October 26, 2017, also recognizing that you said that it did occur, Mr. Singh. And it being your first violation, I would impose a $250 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I agree with the violation and the imposition of the fine, given that it's the first offense.
And I concur as well with the finding of the violation and the imposition of the fine.
So just be careful, and hopefully we won't have any more problems, okay? Thank you.
Yes.
Give us 2 seconds, I just want to see if the detectives.
That's all exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Dado. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector John Chrisomalis.
Do you want to stay on the record?
We can go off. He just want to check to see if the detective's here.
Waiting for a second.
Not 30 minutes. It's a little.
But we didn't start till 1:12.
That's true. It's very efficient.
Ms. Stackers?
When you, for cases contested.
building. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sure.
Did you find out where he is?
He was walking over from headquarters 5 minutes ago.
Did he have his mask on or not?
He knows you like the mask.
One day since I left.
Oh, John.
I think it's a new mask. I bought it as the story was working on a cover. That's probably what took so long.
All right, Bryson, let's go back on the record.
John Ho Lee and Hyen Jung Lee, Hyen's Liquors, Inc., trading as Penn Liquor, 1041 Greymount Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.20C, small I, Class BD7 licensees. Open and operating tavern at all times on October the 26th, 2017. Please come forward.
Counsel.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the licensee.
Good afternoon. Would all those who are going to testify raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So, Mr. Fogelman, we have a violation charged on October 26, 2017. Admit or deny?
There'll be a denial. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Who wants to testify on behalf of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners?
I can.
A detective?
Detective Abraham Gatto, Baltimore City Vice Unit, 110-2617. Myself, Sergeant Leisher, and Agent Chris Amalis, and members of the Baltimore City Liquor Board, conducting a joint operation investigating LBD7 violations within Baltimore City. This time we're using Detective Aquawande as an undercover capacity. He entered the said location, which is located at 1041 Green Mountain Avenue. While inside, Detective Aquawande engaged in conversation with the sales clerk, who's later, I believe he is here with us, Rabin Magar, date of birth 7691, 1803 Aberdeen Road. Detective Aquawande asked to gain entry to the tavern portion of Penn Liquors. He was told that the bar was closed. He exited the location, notified myself, Sergeant Leisher, Agent Chris Amalis, of the violation, which time we entered the location. We gathered the necessary information from the clerk, the information in reference to the license, and advised that there'd be a report written and forwarded to the liquor board, which time we were sitting outside in our vehicle. I was in the passenger seat. Agent Chris Amalis was in the back left. Sergeant Leisher was driving the vehicle. At this time, the licensee, who is here with us now, arrived on scene via his personal vehicle. He stepped out of the car, approached my passenger side of the door, knocked on the window, had a cell phone. He was speaking with someone, wanted me to talk to him, telling me that it was a Baltimore City police officer. I declined to talk. However, my sergeant took the phone and spoke to the alleged Baltimore City police officer. I overheard the conversation. There was reference to the licensee being a new member of KGRO, or the new head of KGRO. Can you please let him slide on this situation? Went on and on about the awards that he's going to be receiving, and this doesn't look good. My sergeant basically advised, look, there's going to be a report written, and we'll deal with it at the liquor board hearing. All events occurred in Baltimore City, state of Maryland.
Questions?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so the licensee didn't say any of those things, did he? As far as this phone call in the car?
No, he handed the phone to me. I denied it, and my sergeant took it.
All right, and you obviously didn't witness anything that went down in the bar between Detective Akinwande, the employee, or the licensee, did you?
Right, Counselor. It was relayed to me.
Right. All right, and have you ever personally done these operations where you go in and ask to get into the bar? Have you been the one who's asked to get into the bar?
I have not done.
You've never done that?
Capacity, no.
Okay, I have no questions. Thank you.
Did you want to question the detective who went in?
Yes, and anyone else who's going to present testimony.
Detective Akinwande?
Yeah, Detective Akinwande, how are you, sir?
Fine, thank you, sir.
What kind of conversation did you have with the bar manager when you walked in?
The person that I identified as the store clerk, basically I walked in and purchased a packaged good, and asked if the bar was open. The store clerk looked at the time, and no, I'm sorry, I apologize. I asked if the bar was closed today. The store clerk looked at the time and said, it's closed. So at that point.
So, but you're certain you asked about the bar?
I definitely asked.
Did you make any body language references? Did you do anything other than speak?
Not that I recall. It's pretty clear that, I was not going to be let into the bar because I was referring to the bar. I asked if the bar was going to be open, and he looked at the time and said the bar was going to be was closed. So at that point, I didn't think I was going to gain entry, so I walked out and notified my team.
All right, and to the best of your knowledge, or the best of your recollection, what packaged good did you purchase?
Pack of Starbursts.
All right, is that a packaged good? Okay.
It was an item that I purchased.
But you don't remember using any body language whatsoever?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do you want to present evidence?
I do. Thank you very much. First, I'm going to call John Lee, the licensee very briefly, who was not present at the time of the incident, but
That's fine.
provide some background evidence. All right, Mr. Lee? You are the licensee at 1041 Greenmount Avenue, isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other business interests?
Yeah, I opened a second business right next to my 1041 Greenmount. Opened a new grocery store. So it's about like a 20 feet, just right next to the building. And then that store is closed at 8 o'clock. Actually 7:50. As soon as the ladder is up, we close. So.
The grocery store?
Yes.
Closes at 8 o'clock?
Actually 7:50.
Okay.
Yes.
And if I am walking into 1041 Greenmount Avenue, the licensed establishment, which way would the grocery store High Mart be? Would it be to my left or to my right?
If you're going to entrance to the liquor store, go to the left side.
Okay. Do you maintain security video of your premises at all times?
All the time.
Okay. Did you retrieve the video from this evening and this incident in question?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have that here today to show the commission?
Yes.
Okay. With your permission, I'd ask to show the video, and obviously Detective will come on up.
Detective, if you want to observe.
So, if anybody, sometimes people stand behind you and watch it.
The chairman is really good at this stuff, so let me look it up. He's teaching me.
So I do see the date and the time as.
Is there audio or is it?
There's no audio.
No, unfortunately.
Just video.
Okay.
All right, and so that's, I don't know if you want to give Detective Akabende a chance to look at it, play it down there for him.
Well, let's just see if he identified that that's him. Can you start?
Where do we start? Go ahead.
So the question, Detective, is whether this is you depicted on the video.
Okay. Yeah, this isn't starting now. Wait, move this back like this, right? Is that it? Am I doing that right? Yes. Okay. I should go into school in the computer program. Is that you? That's him.
It is? Okay.
All right, and thank you. All right, and Mr. Lee, you are in fact the president of the Asian American Licensed Beverage Association, is that right?
Yes.
Do you train your members on operating a bar and maintaining the tavern portion of the bar at all times?
All the time.
Okay. That is all the questions I have for you at this time.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Commissioners have any questions for him?
Questions?
Okay.
Thank you. I'll call Rabin Ta. First name Rabin, R-A-B-I-N. Last name is?
Sir, so step up to the microphone, okay?
Okay, and Mr. Ta, you were working at the establishment on, and in fact, can I have that laptop back?
Is it Rabin Magar?
I did.
That's
I
the
thought-
middle name.
Which one is your middle name?
Top.
So the name on the docket here is?
Robin Magar.
Could you pull up the statement for me? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you were working on October 26, 2017, when the detective arrived, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, was that around 8:03 p.m.?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and you'd served another customer, and what did you notice about the customer who turned out to be the detective?
No, it was. I thought he was a normal customer. He just walk inside and look around the bar. I mean, look around the liquor, and just look around the candy, and he just buy the candy. And just, I thought he was a regular customer.
Sure. All right, and so then what happened after that?
So as soon as he buy the candy, Starburst candy, he just say, "Is that open?" He just point like this way, and I thought, and I just turn around the clock. It was already 8 o'clock, and just. And I thought he was asking for the next grocery store, so, and I say, no, it's not open, that's what I say. So he just walk away.
Why did you think he was asking about the grocery store next door?
Because we have we have a lottery over there, and some customer, they try to buy candy if it is not in the liquor store, some kind of juice over there. If it is not in the liquor store, so they just go to the next store, so I thought he was searching for some kind of other more items.
So your testimony, as he said, is that open?
Yeah, he just
Okay,
pointed.
and he pointed to the left?
Yeah, just
All right, and what, other than the tavern, is in the direction that he was pointing? Is the store in the same direction?
Yes, it's Highmark store.
Based on his 3 words to you, is that open? Did you believe that he meant, is the bar open?
No.
What did you think he meant?
It's just, I thought that the grocery store, was it open or not? I just think like that. So,
Okay. And then what happened after that?
so he just walked away, and
He didn't follow up or say the bar's not open? He just said one time, is that open?
Is that open? I said, I just look at the clock and no, it's not open, and he just walked away. And I was just the next customer was behind him, so I was concentrating on the next customers. That's
All right, and he didn't cause any,
no.
he wasn't upset or didn't challenge you on whether or not the bar was open after that?
Nothing,
Okay.
sir, nothing.
Had he asked you if the bar was open, what would you have said?
Yeah, obviously I'll say yes, it is open.
Is the bar ever closed?
No.
I have nothing further.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. So Detective Akawande, is the testimony accurate that you pointed in the direction of the bar and asked if it was open?
Halfway. I noticed the door was locked for the bar area, and I asked if the bar was closed today. I didn't ask if it was open. I actually asked if it was closed today. It's on my notes. And what the store clerk said was, it's closed. Yes, it's closed. That was actually his remark back to me. So it was pretty clear at that point that the bar was not open.
And you actually use the word bar.
Absolutely. In my notes, yes, I remember that.
And in terms of the layout inside, I'm not quite understanding the layout. So there's a door right there to
There's a bar I've been back to there has been a time where I've tried that location out for an LBD7, and they passed. They let me into the bar. On this date, I know that the door was closed because it's usually locked. And when I asked to gain entry, his response was that it's closed. He looked at the time as he testified, and he said, yes, it's closed.
And who went in to speak to Mr. Magar after this? And did he offer the explanation to you then that he's offered today?
When I spoke to the cashier, he never mentioned anything about a grocery store and a confusion. We told him that he had denied entry to an undercover detective, and he was going to be given a violation, and he didn't mention to me at that time about anything about a grocery store. Is the grocery store, I don't even know if the grocery store is in the same building. I didn't see a grocery store.
The testimony was that Highmart is located next door to the licensed establishment.
Is it connected?
Just 2 units different, like a 20 feet. You can see the big signs outside too.
Did you have any questions?
No, just want to make some argument here.
Okay, can I ask?
Go ahead,
Sure.
So, I guess I'm struggling with the defense because what I'm challenged by is the fact that I don't know how you reconcile Mr. Magar's comment, assuming it's true, that he thought he was referring to a grocery store when this is a licensee that has had this same violation, by my count, at least twice since he's owned it. So it may be a training issue, it may be a communication issue, but how do you reconcile that? I mean, there's a history here.
I'm happy to reconcile that, even though we haven't gotten to the guilty phase. I would argue that after someone has been charged and found guilty of this, that more than ever, they're diligent to make sure that the bar is open. And given Mr. Lee's position and given his leadership in the Asian American Licensed Beverage Association, this is a continuing issue of concern for them. In fact, you all may be aware that legislation has been introduced, Senate Bill 519, that will do away with the requirement to have these taverns eventually. All of that having been said, my argument here is that Mr. Lee is acutely aware of the need to keep the tavern open and would never, had it been him as a catcher, would have never said anything to that effect, and furthermore has made it very clear to his employees that the bar is always open when the premises is open. And within that regard, here we have, and let's look at this more generally, here we have licensees who generally there is a language barrier. And I've seen myself videos with, for example, Detective Greenhill, when he was the guy coming in the bar, and he says, hey, bar open? I want to sit down and get a drink. Can I get a drink at the bar? And he may say it 2 or 3 times because there is a language barrier. So for me to go, is that open after I've bought a Starburst? It doesn't even seem like I'm a drinker anyway. Do I look like a bar customer if I come in and say, hey, give me a Starburst? I don't even think you want a drink. And then he says, hey, is that open? I'm thinking the grocery store next door, which is in fact just closing at the time that this happened. I think given that language barrier that, quite frankly, there ought to be a little more dialogue between the cashier and the officer so that we can pin it down that, in fact, they were refusing service. I mean, I think, and you all have seen other police statements regarding these things, and it usually, there's more words involved. That's all there's more actions. There's somebody, he jangles on the door and say, hey, is this open? No, it's not. That there wasn't, and if you look at the video, it just looks like a customer is like, hey, is that open? I don't know what that means. And without audio, we're left to guess what was said, but we can see the brevity of whatever conversation was. You can see it on the video again if you'd like. It was like 5 seconds, 4 seconds long. And to me, that's not enough time to definitively determine by probable cause that, in fact, he was refusing. It might have led me, if I were an officer, to ask again, can I sit down and get a beer and eat my Starburst at the bar? And then if you say no, then I got you. But if I say, is that open, and my English isn't great, I'm from Nepal, I don't know what that means. But what I am saying is I think we need to go, I think the inspectors ought to go an extra step before they conclusively determine that they were denied service, because that is not what happened here. There was no denial of service. There was a genuine material misunderstanding of fact and the question itself.
Okay, anything further? No. Okay, so the threshold issue for the board is whether on October 26th, the Detective Akawande was denied access to the bar portion of this facility by Mr. Magar. We don't know who was operating the facility in the prior thing, so I don't think we can go there until we get a determination of culpability. For my purposes, I think I would have been convinced by your argument, counsel, if when they entered and they told him about the violation, he had offered the excuse that he's offering today. But it seems more like an after-the-fact way of thinking about it than what actually occurred at the time. And I can agree that it's slim based on the evidence that we have, but I have enough to convince me that there was a violation on Rule 4.20C II on October 26th.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me before an imposition of a penalty? or actually,
Well, I
I'm
have to
sorry.
hear whether anybody agrees with me.
I concur as well. The fact that the detective testified, he stated, is the bar open? He used the term bar in that question. To me, I tend to believe that. So I agree with the finding as well.
And I concur too with the finding the violation.
So
All right.
let me hear you in mitigation.
Thank you very much. This is an exceptional licensee, I believe, as far as community involvement goes. Would you like to say anything?
You have to come up and be sworn, ma'am. Can you raise your right hand, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And what is your name, ma'am?
Regina Hammond.
Okay. And what is your interest in this case?
Well, I'm the president of Rebuild Johnson Square Neighborhood Organization, and for the last 4 years, we've been working diligently to rebuild and revitalize Johnston Square. And I'm only here on behalf of Mr. Lee just to say that he's been a partner to us. Everything that we've asked of him as far as supporting our community with the events, bringing the community together, and he just basically calls me and says, what can I do to help you on a regular basis? He's always there to support our community in the efforts to revitalize our community. And I just wanted that he's a good person, don't know a lot about what goes on there, other than the fact that Mr. Lee has always supported Rebuild Johnston Square Neighborhood Organization.
And were you a part of this event?
Yes.
Yes. And what was this event called?
This was his inauguration into the organization he's a part of.
Great. May I submit the photos of community involvement with the licensee? Are you aware of his participation with the Stop the Violence program of this fall with the families and community of Johnston Square?
Not familiar with that particular one. However, we did also present Mr. Lee with a great big thank you because we've hosted several events in the community. And Mr. Lee has often pulled up with his van and supported with bottled waters and snacks for the kids in the community.
And I want to say, as counsel, I dropped the ball. I had a framed photo that you had given him, which was celebrating and congratulating him on being inaugurated president of the Asian American Licensed Beverage Association, and I left it at my office. And I was going to make copies, but you had done the ribbons so nice that I wasn't, if I had to take it out of its frame, I would have never got it back. And I got to say, in the 10 years I've been in the liquor law business, I have never seen a community association give an award to a licensee on their election to an organization. And I found that very touching. So thank you for being here. So here you have it. I mean, this is a situation where I still believe in my heart that Mr. Lee would do everything in his power to never allow a violation of this nature to occur again. He's even part of the group that is pushing Senate Bill 519 so that we don't have to have this anymore. And that'll cost some liquor lawyers some retainer fees, but in the end, it's worth it, I think. And I'm very hopeful that legislation becomes law, and I think the governor will look on it very favorably if it gets to him. That having been said, you found him in violation. There is more than one violation here. I would just simply say that what he does with the community almost outweighs some of these events. You're not hearing allegations of violence, loitering, some of the other problems that are prevalent in the area. So I'd ask that you consider a small fine, and I thank you.
Okay. As I indicated earlier in my finding on the violation, it's a closed case. And if it were the only case, it would probably be a very easy case. But sadly, we have these two priors. So this is the third violation, so that can't be ignored. Although I do want to take into consideration Ms. Hammond's testimony and your work in the community. I think we want to encourage that sort of thing. And maybe the law will change, but it hasn't changed yet. So we have to deal with what we have. I don't know what my fellow commissioners think about this. It's not an easy thing, but I'm going to, I would impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days.
I think given the community involvement and your testimony today, I will concur with that finding and imposition of fine.
So I obviously found a violation. I would have actually reduced the finding of the fine. I found Ms. Hammond's testimony very compelling. I would have probably suggested $250, half of that, but I'm in the minority right now, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks
you.
for the extra time on this.
Technical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Krista Malice. Thank you.
Where's Mr. Fogelman? You want, does he want those? Mr. Page, we concluded?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until Thursday, February the 8th, 2018, at 11 a.m. We are adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.